I want to do one additional thing. That really does represent the tools that we have as facilitators to balance power in an intergroup dialogue. We're working with counter narratives in ways that pushes back on the master narrative. We're being careful not to exploit the experiences of other people or to strip mine particular cultures for their experience. We're using a particular form of inquiry, and we're avoiding inquiry that others people or put people on the defensive. We're doing those things as techniques and tactics for balancing power in an intergroup dialogue. What I did not do, and what we should actually also reflect, is our dialogues is not the simple dialogues that I just drew. Our dialogues are much more complex than that, right? There's never just two participants. There's another participant here who has an agent identity, maybe a few more. And they're sharing narratives too. And there's other target participants. And they're sharing their narratives also. Right? So you're balancing now all these voices. And these targeted and agent identity people don't just have their primary social identity, they have subordinate identities. And those subordinate identities can be target or agent. So in a dialogue about gender, a woman may be heterosexual, which is an agent identity. They may be from another country and not a US citizen, and they may be cisgendered. So they may have a target identity in terms of the issue that we're addressing in that dialogue, but they have these other identities also. And that's the case for all of these other participants as well. The other thing is the narratives expressed by the person who has more power or less power isn't always in the direction of the arrows that we mentioned. Sometimes our agent participants have a narrative that's actually an ally narrative. So this narrative from the agent pushes back on the grand narrative. Also, the target identity person, the person with less power, could have a narrative that supports the grand narrative, meaning it's complicit with their own oppression. It's complicit with the grand narrative, even though it comes from a target identified individual. So as a facilitator, this is a more accurate and messy and complicated diagram of what you're going to face. Not two participants having a classical diagrammed narrative, but you could have a room full of multiple participants, many multiple participants, with both primary and secondary and tertiary identities, sharing common or unfamiliar narratives which either support or subordinate the grand narrative. And as a facilitator, you're working all of that every moment in split seconds. And you're making decisions on your multipartiality in those moments. So with all of that, I wish you bon voyage, good luck, and have fun.